Oh, Salem faithful, pull up a chair at the Brady pub, grab your coffee, and let's dive deep into this because my heart is racing just thinking about it. As someone who's lived and breathed Days of Our Lives for decades, watching every twist, every tearful reunion, every shocking revelation in that wild, wonderful town, I can tell you with absolute certainty that nothing, and I mean nothing, stays buried forever in Salem. John Black may have had his emotional farewell episode on the 9th of September 2024, but if you believe for 1 second that the writers are done with this legendary character, then you haven't been paying attention to the rich, chaotic history of this soap. Let me paint the picture for you, because this deserves all the drama and detail we can muster. John Black isn't just a character, he's the soul of Salem. From his mysterious beginnings as the pawn, brainwashed and manipulated by Stefano DiMera, to his epic love story with Marlena Evans, the man has been shot, blown up, memory wiped, presumed dead, and brought back more times than we can count. He's been an ISA super agent, a loving father and grandfather, a hero who stands tall against the darkness of the DiMera Empire, and the one person who could always make Doc's eyes light up even in the middle of the craziest storms. Drake Hogestyn embodied that role with such raw charisma and depth that John Black became unforgettable. Yes, other actors have stepped into the shoes over the years, but John belongs to that iconic portrayal in the hearts of longtime fans. When that final episode aired, it hit like a ton of bricks. The lab explosion, the desperate efforts to help Bo, the heartbreaking goodbyes, it felt final. John was written off the canvas, his presence seemingly erased from the daily lives of the residents. But Salem has a way of whispering that the story isn't over. Remember Stefano's will reading? That perfectly sinister DiMera touch. Marlena walks in, regal as ever, only to be presented with a mysterious chessboard, a gift from beyond the grave, left for both her and John. Stefano always saw them as his queen and his favorite pawn in an endless twisted game. That chessboard wasn't just a prop, it was a promise. A taunt. A signal that the pieces are still moving, even if some players seem to have left the board. Marlena's reaction said it all, that mix of defiance, grief, and quiet recognition that Stefano's games never truly end. And here's where the real excitement builds. We all know nothing is permanent in Salem. This town has a graveyard full of characters who came back stronger, stranger, or more vengeful than before. People have returned from the dead via miracles, science, devilish possessions, cryogenic freezes, clones, and pure soap opera magic. Roman Brady has died and returned multiple times. Bo has cheated death. Even Stefano, the Phoenix himself, rose again and again. Death in Salem is often just a long nap with dramatic lighting and a few plot twists thrown in. So when fans ask whether the writers will bring John back, my experienced take is this. They absolutely will, because the storytelling potential is too rich to ignore, and the fans' love for John and Marlena runs too deep. Now, let's talk about the most delicious possibility of all, E.J. DiMera having John hidden away in one of those secret, high-tech DiMera labs. E.J., ever the ambitious son trying to fill Stefano's formidable shoes, has been deep in shady scientific territory with Dr. Rolf by his side. Rolf, that eccentric genius with his wild hair and even wilder ethics, or lack thereof, has been tinkering with resurrection technology that actually works. We saw the proof with Lexi Carver. After more than a decade gone, Lexi made a stunning return, thanks to that groundbreaking Versavix drug and Rolf's unholy expertise. EJ has been strutting around Salem with that smug confidence, facing questions and potential consequences, but never backing down. This is a man who believes he's above the rules, especially when it serves the DiMera legacy. Imagine it, the scene practically writes itself. Deep underground, in a dimly lit chamber filled with humming machines, glowing monitors, and the faint scent of chemicals, John Black lies motionless on a sterile table. Tubes snake across his body, IV lines delivering that miraculous serum. His face, still handsome and strong even in stillness, shows no signs of the trauma from the explosion. EJ paces nearby in one of his perfectly tailored suits, his voice low and intense as he demands updates from Rolf. This has to work. The pawn must return. Think of what it means for our family, for control over Salem. Rolf mutters excitedly about cellular regeneration, neural pathways, and how this subject is far more complex than Lexi ever was. John Black, after all, has a history with the DiMeras that runs bone deep. Stefano saw him as the ultimate challenge, the one man who could never be fully broken. The drama would explode across the canvas. Marlena, already carrying the weight of her grief with such elegance and strength, suddenly sensing that something isn't right. Those psychic twinges she's had before, the way her connection to John has always transcended the ordinary. Brady and Belle trying to hold the family together while feeling the void left by their father. The entire Brady clan gathering at the pub, sharing stories about John, unaware that he's potentially being reborn in a DiMera facility. And when he finally wakes up, oh, the fireworks! Disoriented at first, perhaps with flashes of memories returning in dramatic bursts, that signature John Black determination kicking in as he realizes what EJ has done, confrontations in the DiMera mansion, fists flying, secrets spilling out. You played God with my life, EJ? You won't like the man who wakes up. The writers have so much fertile ground here. John's return could fracture alliances, spark new romances or old rivalries, and give Marlena one of the most emotional storylines in years. Picture their reunion, the slow realization, the hesitant touch, the overwhelming embrace as years of love and history come rushing back. Tears, laughter, passion, days of our lives, at its very best. It would be ratings gold during sweeps, the kind of event that brings longtime viewers back to their screens and introduces new fans to the magic of Salem. Of course, EJ's motives would be deliciously layered. Is it purely about power using John as leverage against the Bradys, or to fulfill some twisted part of Stefano's will? Or is there a reluctant respect there, the acknowledgement that a town without John Black just doesn't feel right? Stefano's chessboard sits somewhere significant, perhaps in the DiMera crypt or hidden in the mansion, waiting for the game to resume. Moving that first piece could literally activate something bigger, maybe a hidden message, a DNA trigger, or simply the psychological push EJ needs to go through with the resurrection. As someone who's followed every beat of this show, I believe the setup is already there. The lab experiments, the successful revival of Lexi, the lingering mentions of John in key scenes, the way the canvas feels incomplete without him, the writers know what they have in John Black. He's not just a hero, he's a legend whose story still has chapters left to tell. Whether they recast with a new actor who can capture that essence or find a miraculous way to honor the legacy while moving forward, the door is wide open. Fans are divided, as we always are in Salem, some wanting to let the character rest in peace out of respect, others desperate to see more of that undeniable chemistry and heroism. But soaps are built on hope and second chances. John has survived worse than this. He's escaped impossible situations, broken free from brainwashing, and always found his way back to Marlena and his family. So yes, I think EJ very likely has John in that lab right now, or at least the wheels are turning toward that explosive reveal. The resurrection drug worked on Lexi. Why not on the man Stefano obsessed over for decades? It fits every rule of Salem storytelling. Shocking, emotional, tied to legacy, and full of future drama. What do you think? Is John stirring on that table as we speak, his vital signs strengthening with every drip of the serum? Will we get that iconic moment when he opens his eyes and says something perfectly John-like? The writers have the power to make magic happen here, and I, for one, am hoping they do. Because in Salem, the pawn doesn't just get taken off the board, he gets promoted to king and comes back swinging. The love, the battles, the family ties, John Black's story deserves more. And knowing Days of Our Lives, more is exactly what we're going to get. The game is far from over, my friends. The chessboard is waiting, and I can't wait to see the next move.